Isn't it neat how Beirut just had an explosion with ammonium nitrate, a substance that's virtually inactive on its own. In fact, in its own crystalline form, it doesn't really do anything but become soluble with water. In fact, it has to have a reactant to it in order to make it react. So for it to react like the way it did, seeing as how there were fireworks going off in the background, it would have had something happen to the chemical substance, which means that some type of chemical would have had to have been on it, because by itself it's not entirely flammable and it's not able to have a reaction without a chemical component to the reaction, and then that creates a backdrop for it. So unless somebody was processing it and maybe turn it into a highly dangerous acetone based explosive, well, it should have been pretty much inanimate. So what it looks like there is that possibly the Beirut explosion could have been a bomb making facility and could have been taken out. They might have known that they were making bombs there, or they wanted to make sure that if there was an ability for bombs to be made there. But it becomes pretty obvious that ammonium nitrate in itself is stable and it doesn't just go blowing up. And it would take somebody who is a good chemist to understand the chemical properties of that much in order to react it. And remember that every reaction requires a reagent, and for it to be explosion that big, it has to have an equality of reagent, which means that the chemical process was accelerated in a fashion that could be very bad, especially if they're doing a distilling process to make large amounts of bombs that were chemically stable to possibly take into Turkey. Because, you know, they're right on the borders of each other. Gosh knows what could happen there. You got Lebanon and Libya. But then you got down south, you've got Haftar there, and he really wants support against Turkey. And what a good way to sting Turkey than to do suicide bombing by making the bombs in Beirut in order to leak them into Turkey in order to cause an uprising. I'm just speculating, but right now in the region, the biggest consequence that's going on is Haftar, because he's really getting his ass kicked around like a little virgin, and nobody's really coming to back him, even though he was put in his place of power through the United States of America, the UAE, and a Sisi. So, and they're separated by water, but the distance isn't far enough to make them incompatible. All they have to do is just get on a boat and go across. So, and it was at a dock, and we saw that Haftar already attacked the docks down where he's at. So there could be something of consequence there if you pay close attention to it. But the one thing that's remarkable here is that an inanimate crystalline substance decided to blow up and kill over 70 people. That's absolutely abnormal.